Fabian, thank you so much for agreeing to be on the last episode of Dare to Bear series. We're
Oh,
happy
great.
to have you.
Yeah, nice to be here today to share some ideas with you guys as well.
That's amazing, and we can't wait to start. Okay, let's start now.
Mm.
Can you share with us the most memorable experience that you had in Toastmasters?
Yeah, actually, I've been in Toastmasters for so long already, so there are many memorable moments. But one of the most memorable one was the speech contest in 2007. Wow, this was a very interesting one. So I went from club to area to division, and eventually to the district level. And when I was at the district level contest, yeah, so I somehow or another won third placing. Yeah, but the trophy I didn't get it until about 6 months later. What happened was on that day, somebody else won third placing, but then he was disqualified and I was announced as a winner. And then he had already left the convention and then he took the trophy with him. So it took us 6 months to get it back. So I was given the trophy 6 months later. So it was the most interesting trophy that I have at the moment and the most interesting experience. Yeah. So that
I
was that.
see,
Lah.
I see. 2007, is it?
2007, yeah, I was at third place at the district level. So that was the most valuable trophy that I have at the moment.
I see, I see. 2007. Yeah, I was in primary school
Yeah,
at
in primary
that
school.
time. Yes,
Most
yes.
likely in primary school at that time.
So the next question that we would like to ask you is that
Mm.
as a master trainer in the field of public speaking,
Mm.
how has Toastmasters helped you in your career?
That's interesting question as well. So actually, I found Toastmasters through training lah. It's actually not something that I found by itself, but actually it's through training. So I actually met a fellow Toastmaster when I just joined Toastmasters, and then I met a fellow Toastmaster by the name Elvin Teo, Dr. Elvin Teo, in actual fact. So if he's listening, so hello to you. And eventually we became partners to start off, doing some training and so forth. And eventually, it was also one of those good fortunes that we actually managed. I managed to co-wrote a book with him called The Tao of Talking. It's actually sort of like a manual for you to learn the basics of public speaking. So we co-authored this book, and it was history from there. So after that, I started using some of the techniques and created my own presentation skills programs and started training corporate people. So that's how the career started. So Toastmasters was actually the beginning of the career. So it's because of Toastmasters that I started my career to become a trainer and eventually a master trainer, and still doing that at the present moment until today.
I
So
see. That's really
it was
interesting that like your career actually started from
from
Toastmasters.
Toastmasters in actual fact, correct? Yeah.
Besides being a master trainer, you are also a certified MBTI administrator,
Mm.
right? So do you think public speaking style is associated with our personality?
Mm.
And how can understanding one's personality help with one's finding their own public speaking style?
That's a great question. MBTI is actually for the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator. It's one of the most highly used profiling system in the world today. So it is, if you haven't heard of MBTI, maybe you have heard of these words called introvert and extrovert.
Yeah.
So introvert and extrovert actually comes from the MBTI, not from the Oxford Dictionary. So what I do is that I actually mastered the MBTI, and I'm actually teaching a lot of corporate people to apply the MBTI. So when you apply MBTI into public speaking, it is also very powerful because firstly, like for example, we talk about introversion and extroversion. Now I type myself as an introvert. You'll be surprised that although I do a lot of public speaking, but I'm actually introvert in nature. And most people who are public speakers, they like leaders and so forth, very outspoken. They may look like an extrovert, but in actual fact, some of them could be introverts as well. So to name a few great leaders like Gandhi, for example, he was introverted. Lincoln was introverted. Yeah, you look at all the religious speakers like Prophet Muhammad, Buddha, Jesus Christ, they were all introverted speakers. So I took that inspiration. So when I thought of myself as an introvert and someone who was supposed to be quiet, so, but when I went on stage, then my extroversion came about. And that's where it helped me also to read the body language of the audience, to get them to know how to deliver better content through MBTI. It's a very powerful tool. So I would like to invite any one of you who have an opportunity to learn a little bit about MBTI to do it, and it will help you in your career and also in life. So you can actually deal with different types of people and understand people better, understand yourself better, and understand people better as well. So
Yeah.
it'd be good.
I believe this MBTI, it doesn't just help us to understand ourselves. As we understand other people, it helps us to be able to work with them and also even like deliver, know what kind of content we can deliver to them and how we
Correct.
can deliver it to them as well.
That's correct. And
Mm,
then also your thinking and feeling, for example, to actually balance your thinking and feeling, and also your life orientation. So why are some people a bit messy? Why some people are neat? Why some people are last minute? So why some people they plan in advance? All these are all personality traits, and MBTI explains that. So that's the reason. Yeah.
yes.
So it does help. It does help in understanding public speaking. Does help you to read audiences, and we do a lot of boardroom talks, and reading corporate people. So it is very helpful when you're presenting, especially.
Very, very interesting
Mm.
personality test. Okay, now let's move to our next question. So, what is the one thing that doesn't change throughout your 20 years in Toastmasters?
The thing that didn't change is that every meeting that I attended from 20 years ago, every meeting I have something to learn. I've actually found out something new. I've discovered something new. For example, many years ago, before GPS became very popular, I heard about GPS from a Toastmasters meeting. Somebody was speaking about it, the technology behind it. And then about 2 years later, the actual thing was in my hand. I was very, very surprised. So things like new technology, new things, even new trends, we always get to hear good speeches and ideas. You exchange it with people, and every meeting there's always something to learn. As I grow older and older, I always like to learn from the young people as well because they are in touch with trends. And it's always nice to mix up with people like yourself who actually give us the latest, what's the latest in terms of music or in terms of what's happening in the millennial world. So I'm not in that generation, so it's great for me to learn from young people like you all as well. So it's a learning. The learning is something new to discover for 20 years. That's what kept me going for 20 years. A lot of people, maybe after 2 years, 3 years, they leave. But for me, I feel that there's always something new to learn, and I always want to enjoy that part of it. So that's
Indeed,
the
indeed.
thing that has not changed.
I totally agree with you. As long as we have a heart of wanting to continue improving ourselves, we would definitely learn something from
Yeah,
Toastmasters no
that's
matter
right.
what
It's
topic.
also your want to learn. That's the most important. I believe that we will learn from the time we were born until we reach the grave. We will not stop learning. So it's only up to you whether you want to stop growing or not. So
Mm,
that's the whole idea. So don't stop learning.
yes, yes, totally agree with you. Now, last question for you, Fabian.
Mm,
Do
sure.
you think public speaking is for everyone? And what is your advice to those who are still considering joining Toastmasters?
That's a good question. Actually, I've already trained, I think, more than 10,000 people in terms of public speaking, in terms of corporates, and I get different classes, different groups of people. Personally, for me, presentation skills and speaking is actually not for everybody. Some people have it, some people can develop it, but some people just can't do it. That's a very interesting phenomenon because I've actually tried, even in classes, we try to encourage some people, but they just don't have the knack of it. However, if you persist and keep on training, you will never know what comes up on the other side. So it is not naturally for everyone, but it is not something that you cannot train for. Just like riding a bicycle, some people may be able to catch it on the first time they jump on the bike, but some people need to fall down many, many times before they climb up as well. So that's where Toastmasters come into play. So if you have an opportunity to give it a try, if even you're a person who feels very nervous, lack the confidence, yeah, you can't do it. But when you go into a Toastmaster meeting, that's where you actually have an opportunity to learn. It's not a natural ability, it's a skill. So remember, speaking is a skill, it's a skill set. So you may not be born with it, but you can definitely develop it as we go along. It's not for everyone, but it's something that if you want it, it is yours. So Toastmasters is the pathway for you to get there. So I would encourage everybody who has an opportunity to join a Toastmasters club, and it will help you to grow, I'm sure. I'm
Yeah.
proof of it, like 20 years later.
Yes, and even your career started with Toastmasters, and I
Correct.
believe
Yes,
that,
it can.
for those who are still considering, I think Toastmasters is indeed a very nurturing place
Hmm,
where you can come and just don't have to worry about the things you have to say and don't have to worry about others judging you, because in Toastmasters we want to help each other to grow and improve one another.
true. That's why also we are tying back to the personality just now.
Uh-huh.
Toastmasters are really good for introverts because introverts they don't like to go out there, become, you go to clubs where there are a lot of hoo-ha. They don't do that. So we take our time, we do it at our own pace, we get very good evaluations. So introverts who are very comfortable in Toastmasters meetings. So if you are very shy, if you are a person who, soft-spoken and stuff like that, come to the Toastmasters meeting and then join some of the other introverts, and you can know how you can actually build your confidence with these groups of people as well. So I think that's a really, really good way to nurture. Nobody will push you to do anything. It's just a matter of our time as well.
That's really great of you to share with us, and thank you so much for your time for this Dare to Bear session.
No
And I
problem.
hope every one of you who are watching this video enjoy this session as well. So we will see you when we see you.
See
Goodbye.
you.